Namaste. Thanks for joining me for my personal practice this morning. Let's see how things unfold. Find a comfortable space. I'm on the deck this morning. This is going to be unedited, so you may hear all different sounds of people moving around in the neighborhood. I've got some beautiful birds in the background. I'm not sure if you can hear it, but I'm really enjoying it. I love practicing. It's probably, I think it's about 8 a.m. at the moment, so the light is just fabulous coming through the trees. Anyway, come and join me. Let's find a comfortable seated position. This is Casper. He's going to do yoga with us. And your buddy. Comfortable seated position. I like to have my legs crossed. You might prefer to have them out in front of you. You might like to tuck them under your body. Just find something where you feel really settled, and if you'd like a little bit more ease in the hips, maybe prop your hips up, sit on something, a cushion or a couple of yoga blocks perhaps. Allow your arms to rest where they're most comfortable for your shoulders to soften down away from your ears. Just get a little lift into the crown of the head. You may like a little gentle tilt of your ears, maybe turning the chin. Let your shoulders perhaps move a little, just so you can come into a place of settledness without forcing yourself to be still. Feel into the connection with the mat beneath you or the ground. Rather than trying to change anything, take a little bit of time just to notice what you're experiencing. Maybe it's a sense of evenness, or you might feel a little more weighted on one hip or the other. Maybe invite that feeling of center. And travel from the base of your spine upward. Just take a bit of time to notice whatever sensations draw your attention. You might notice thoughts coming in and out, perhaps that list of things you have to do later on, maybe some concerns, a bit of remembrances or future projection. All totally normal. So it can be helpful coming in towards a place of stillness to give your mind something to focus on. So let's begin from the outside world and gradually draw in. Maybe open your ears to all the different sounds around you. Coming a little more inward. Maybe feel into the breath. Follow it as it enters through your nostrils. Follow its passage deep into your body. Just noticing how it feels where you expand to receive it. And follow it as it releases. Right back upward from your base. From the top to the base. You might notice as you follow the breath, other thoughts come in and out of your awareness. Very, very normal. So we just bring our attention back into the breath. Feeling that life force awaken every cell. You may like to press pause and perhaps continue with this focus for a little bit longer. If you are ready to move, bring your hands towards your heart space. And first we'll begin by connecting into a balanced breath, and then we'll start adding bigger movement that is in conjunction with the breath. So So I have my thumbs resting lightly up around my heart space. I'm just feeling the breath movement behind the hands, coming from the heel of the hand where the diaphragm's expanding. Even feel a little movement in the abdomen as I breathe in. Following it right up to the collarbones. And from the collarbones, feeling how everything seems to slide back down towards the base, down towards the navel as we exhale. And feeling into that movement, noticing with the breath. I'm going to try and invite some balance into it. So I'm going to count as I breathe in. And try and follow that count on the breath out. And my breath isn't quite even yet, and that's okay. Just feeling into it, not forcing it to be anything, just opening, setting an intention, and honoring where I'm at. I can feel quite a lot of pent-up energy in my body today, so I'm opening my mouth as I exhale, giving it an avenue of escape. My breath out's a little bit longer today than the inhale. Totally okay. Yours might be a little different. That's okay too. As I breathe in, the arms are going to rise. So bracing from the base of the spine, internally wrapping the muscles gently around the spine to support it. The inhale, lifts. Pulling the bottom of the ribs towards the belly. Exhale, softening the shoulder blades. Let's try that again. I'm going to let the eyes follow the hands. Just opening the front body, feeling the strength in the back body, exhaling, and gently bringing that strength right in towards the center. There's one more. Let's reach forward on the breath out, drawing the hips back, drawing the navel towards the spine, letting the hands find the floor. Fingertips spread, chin tucks in, shoulders soften. A little roundness in the back, the tailbone's tucking towards the nose. The navel's drawing up towards the spine. I'm going to go in reverse. So on the next breath in, I lift up. Let's open our heart space. Draw the shoulders down, the elbows pull back. Hands find the floor behind you. And lifting the chest and the heart space. Inhaling deeply. Exhaling. Next breath in, come up through the center again. Or to the center. Your intuition will guide you. And as you exhale, just C-shape the spine. You might like to rest your wrist and your elbow. And just revolving, opening the heart towards the heavens. And really rooting down into the earth below. Let's go the other way, inhaling up. Exhaling across. Taking time to notice all that's in our experience right now, from the ground to the sky, from the outside to the inside. Coming up through the center. I'm going to uncross my legs, bring the knees towards each other, and as we exhale, let's lift up. almost like you're climbing up the staircase of a lighthouse. Imagine those staircase steps are each vertebra of your spine. Start at the ground, stable and wide, evenly weighted, and then draw up the vertebra one step at a time. Imagine that your heart space, that bright light, radiating out to the world. Inhale, rise. Open, so lift upward. Right up through the crown of the head, reaching into the space above it. And opening wide across the shoulders, heart space. Gloriously radiating. Coming up onto hands and knees. Now I'm nursing a fractured wrist, so you might find me dropping onto my elbows a bit. Just feeling really strong at the moment. So I'm going to come up onto my fingers just for a short while. You might have your hands flat down and be aware that you can come down onto your elbows as well. But what's on the ground is directly under your shoulders. The shoulders are drawing back and the elbows are just hugging inward a little. Pull the front ribs up. You've got beautiful long spine. As you inhale, try and bring your heart space through the gap of your shoulders. Lift your tailbone up the other way and draw it right out to the back of the mat. As you exhale, strong abdominal lift, spacing each vertebra, nose down towards navel. Delicious cat and cow. So this is our cow here, lifting the belly up towards the spine, exhaling. Sitting the hips back down, extending the arms the other way. Feels good. Now I've parted my knees a little bit so I can drop the ribs further down. Sometimes I like to keep them a little bit more parallel. So again, tune into what you're experiencing. Really let it honour where you're at, what your intention is. Seeing yourself with compassion. Really nurturing and tending to your needs in the moment. Next breath in, I'm going to come back up into tabletop. So bringing the knees under the hips, hands or elbows under your shoulders, finding that long line. Getting a sense of where the center is because we're going to lift one leg away from the floor. So both shoulders and both hips are pointing down. Flexing one foot up. Just noticing how this affects the balance. Making whatever adjustments we need to be as centered as possible. You may like to extend the opposite arm, maybe just reaching it out in front, or perhaps even lifting it away. As we exhale, the elbow and the knee will come towards each other. So some of us will touch through, maybe just bring the knee and roll the elbows in. And some of us might like to exhale and round the back and really try and lift the knee as high up into the elbow as you can. Extend and contract. So if you're on your elbows, extend. Lifting the belly out of the way, nose to knee. Try that a couple of times more, and then let's try it on the other side. Squeezing into the gluteals. Drawing the shoulder back towards the opposite hips, almost like you're zigzagging, crisscrossing, meeting around the navel region. One more time. Landing the feet, tucking the toes, easing the hips up high. Downward facing dog. Now I'm going to drop down into my elbows. I might even revisit that child's pose as an alternative, but if you're in a down dog, try and roll your upper armward slightly in towards the center line. Ensure that you have a strong abdominal contraction. Your tailbone is drawing up, 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 up. We have a really strong foundation. Now you could even try this with bent knees. Some of you might like to walk out your dog. Let's see if we can move one leg at a time. So ensure that you feel really grounded in both arms. You have a strong activation, really sealing the bandhas. So our Mula Bandha, think, if you put it into Pilates terms, you're thinking around about the pelvic floor. So you're drawing your center channel from the base of your spine and all the muscles that are around it, you're drawing them in towards the center, and directing it up towards your navel, and then flying it up towards your heart. So all the muscles are drawing inward and upward, directing the prana or the energy along your spine. So engage the bandhas. Let's try and float. Inhale. Reaching up high, so it might even just be floating the foot slightly off the floor. As you exhale, knee towards nose. So you could put the other knee down. We could return to our tabletop. We could do it from a down dog. Now as the knee comes towards the nose, you're shifting your shoulders over the wrist, rounding the abdomen. I'm going to come off the wrist and back down into the elbow to do it. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. One more time, and let it land. Other side. So maybe rest down in a child's pose if you need it or want it. Maybe lift into our dolphin, or a little bit closer, or stay in your down dog. Inhale. Exhale. Casper loves being on the mat with me. It doesn't matter if I move back, he always moves on in. He's done it since a little puppy. We've done daily yoga together. It's really quite wonderful. Hey, you're my yoga buddy, aren't you? Up. Easing on down. I just need you to move just that way, just that way. Good boy. We come forward. Now you can do this. Thank you, Gus. Oh yes, I love you too. I love you too. So coming into a hover position, can be on our knees or our toes. Shoulders draw back. I've actually positioned my hands so that they can find the bicep on the other side. And then drawing the shoulders away from the ears towards my hips. I'm going to roll towards you, so we're going to lift one side of the body. So to begin with, you might like to try it with the back knee down. Keep the back elbow on the floor. Inhale and open the body. Lift the hips up and away. Reach into your top hand, and again, just like we did seated, draw the heart space up. You can vary this posture by lifting the top foot if you like. I've actually scissored my legs now, and I'm really anchoring down through the bottom. I might try the lifted leg or keep it down. Couple of beautifully rich breaths here. See if you can keep your spine in line as well. So draw the chin in. Again, seal the inner channel. Direct that prana up. Coming back towards the center. Let's try it the other way. So you could start with the front knee down, the front elbows right under the shoulder. You rotate, lift. Just tuning into the birds. I can hear some bees as well. Really beautiful sound. Means our environment is a bit healthier, don't you reckon? Coming in towards the center. And again, thinking of that abdominal lift, I'm imagining that I'm tucking my abdominals underneath my bottom ribs. So I'm trying to draw them from the base. Really tuck them under, then opening the heart space forward. Bringing the knees down. You might come into a child's pose. Some of you may like to lift into your down dog. I'm on my down dog. This time I've actually pulled the palms of my hands away from the floor and I'm pushing with my fingers. I feel quite confident in this because this is a position I've practiced for a long time. It is easing my wrist. Some of you can put a little block or something like a foam wedge, a real dense foam wedge under the palm of your hands if you feel that that's something that helps your wrists as well. Just walking out into the body. I'm going to start to open into the hips a little bit more now. So inhale, lifting the heels, pulling the ribs towards the thighs and crouching. I'm looking towards the hand, back foot steps through so you can bring that knee towards nose. Step it through the hands, dropping the front knee towards the floor. Inhale, squeeze into the bottom, lift your heart. Exhale, hands to heart. Now you might keep the knee on the floor or you may like to lift it away. Let's see if we can keep the hips facing forward. Inhale. Feeling that tuck of abdomen towards the belly. Exhale. You might stay here, put the knee down, or try it again. Inhale. Deep knee down. Exhale. Now I want to bring length into this front leg. So I want to see how the body feels by popping the knee down first. Squeezing the inner thighs towards each other and lifting the belly off the thigh. I'm just pulling, drawing back, not so much pulling, but just drawing back on the hip of my long leg. Now I feel today for me personally, I'm looking for a little bit of a longer line. So I'm going to bring length to my kneeling leg as well. So bending in, drawing up, and making sure that my back foot is on the floor. So I've actually stepped it in and taken it a little bit wider. Squaring up the pelvis, so I'm squeezing the inner thighs towards each other. A little micro bend in the knee. I think I might like to lift my toes today as well. So bringing the toes back to the floor. So whether you're kneeling or standing, let's bring both legs towards each other. So shift forward, the knees over the ankle, scoot the belly off and line up your knees. Now as you inhale, you may like to push it out. We did this when we're kneeling before, remember? You might like to keep it in. Some of you may like to go for a bit more of a stretch sensation and lift it up towards the ceiling. So see what feels good in your body today. Extending outward, we're going to land it as lightly as we can. Pop it down, rise again. And let's find our down dog. Exhale. Knee towards nose. Inhale back. I'm going to try it with our front leg now. Inhale, lift. Knee towards nose. Step through, lunge down, square up, find your heart, Really tighten into the buttock muscles. Inhale. And out. Let's find that version of pyramid pose that suits this side on this day. So I've got a little bit more knee bend on this leg. Just trying to keep the pelvis square, so drawing back on the hip of my longer leg. Lifting the belly away from thighs, trying to relax the shoulders. Bringing my mind out of the pose and into the breath. Remember, if you want to take that extra option, you're going to lengthen the leg. So lift up, step down, make sure they're anchored, draw back, and flow down. You might notice that this side feels quite different to the other side. Very normal. So just do the best you can in the moment you're in to find where your center line is. Try not to force it. Just feel into it. We're going to bring the knees towards each other. So shift forward, line it up. Maybe you stay here, you might touch down a few times. Remember, the option is to send the leg up if you want to, out on the parallel. You can make it a bit more of a dynamic strength move by lifting the chest and maybe the hands as well. I'm going to find the floor. So send the leg out, let it land gently. Make sure your hands or your elbows are really strong, knee to nose. Down facing dog or child's pose. Let's come down onto the elbow, so lift, down. Clasping hands together, elbows under shoulders. Draw ribs towards your thighs, lift your belly. Inhale, front leg. Exhale, front foot going to the back. Opening the hip. And we're going to try and square the shoulders up. Oh, I like how that feels. Quite strong in the buttock area. Using the core a little bit more now. This is a beautiful posture to do in a down dog as well. I know that if I do it today, I'm not going to be quite stable, so I'm staying on my elbows in this beautiful dolphin pose with our scorpion leg. Some of you might be taking this lifted foot towards the floor behind you. So if you're going to do that, you need to shift forward so the shoulders come over your grounded point. You lower the hips, then you push up. So normally I'd have my hand under shoulder. Really squeeze into the bottom, bracing into the belly. You might even bring your hand to heart. We come through the center line, back into the middle, and we land down. Child's pose, down dog or dolphin. And take your time. If you want to go there, lift. Square up the shoulders, squeezing into the bottom. Feeling into the breath. And breathing a lot faster now. Just trying to settle it. So if you're going to land the foot, remember to shift forward. Get the shoulders over the grounded point. Lower the hips. Lift up. Hand to heart. Come into the side. We don't have to move it smoothly. We're moving towards that, but we do want to honor our safety as well. How does it feel within you? Sliding forward and lowering down. Rolling over onto our back. Giving the knees a little hug. Just easing the tailbone down. And finding a length of the spine on the floor. And again, getting that sense of the ribs drawing down towards the navel and the abdominals all tucking underneath the ribs. Chin's lightly drawing towards the throat. I referred before into our bandhas. So Mula Bandha, we're at the base of the spine and we're sealing the energy to direct the prana up. When we get to around about the bottom ribs, tucking those abdominals under the ribs, the under bandha, we're flying the prana up through the heart space. We're sealing it around the neck. Jalahanda bandha. My pronunciation's not great. But the concept or the action is still there. So we've got a nice long spine. Shoulders coming a little away from the ears. Drawing the tailbone towards the nose, the navel towards the spine, the abdominals tucking under the abdomen, trying to keep the shoulders relaxed, and sealing the tailbone back down. Drawing in, getting a reverse crunch. If you're in a more conventional group fitness class, think of a reverse crunch. Now let's see if we can hold it a couple of breaths. You might like to do quite a few breaths. Just building some strength through isometric contraction. Not straining in the breath. Your intuition might ask you to stay here a little bit longer, or it may ask you to pop it down. Now, this is a sensation we want to feel when we're doing our crow pose. We're in that arm balance and our feet are lifted off. I've modified my practice today. I really love working arm balances, but protecting where I'm at. I want to keep those muscles and that muscular awareness turned right up. Allowing the feet to find the floor, just about an arm's length away, hip distance apart. Peel the spine from the tailbone upward, away from the floor, pushing through the heels, climbing up onto the shoulders. Palms are up, shoulders are away from the ears. We have those bandhas sealed, flying the prana up, out through the crown. Get a little bit more of a lock, chin towards throat now. If you'd like to extend the spine further and you are confident that it's safe for you to do so, tuck the hands towards each other, clasping into the hands. Start to elevate a little bit more. Really open that heart space. Septu Bandhasana. And if you'd like to lift a foot, get a sense of our center. Shift weight a little bit more into your back foot as you peel the front heel away. Strong in the arms. Knee to nose. Maybe foot to ceiling. Knee to nose. Trying to keep the hips level as we go. Landing lightly. Connecting with the breath. You may like to bring your spine back towards the floor a little sooner, or you may like to continue into the strength building movement. When you're ready to come to the floor, widen the shoulders, part the hands, one vertebra at a time, roll down, controlling the movement and placing yourself gently back onto the earth. Allow yourself to settle. Maybe draw the knees in. Placing your back foot towards the floor, let's cross the front leg over. Hello, baby. Now I've flexed my front ankle and I'm pressing the front knee away from the shoulder. This is a beautiful way to open the hips. I'm just checking both hips are on the floor. And today I want to deepen the sensation, so I'm going to bring my back thigh towards my chest whilst keeping the front knee pressing away. It's quite a strong engagement of that flexed ankle across thigh. You can draw in. Sometimes it can feel quite nice to lengthen the leg you're holding as well. Get a little bit more in your hamstring, but you want both of your hips to stay on the floor. Just try and avoid the knee with your ankle. Bring that back foot lightly towards the floor. Extend the front leg towards the ceiling. Now again, I want to keep both hips down on the ground, so I'm pulling downward with my thigh bone, almost like I'm nailing it to the back of the pelvis. And for me, I'm trying to bring more length where the hamstring comes in towards the lower back. And so I've bent my knee quite deeply to bring the thigh closer to the ribs. Shoulders are still relaxed. You want to make the sensation travel a little bit longer into the hamstring and towards where the hamstrings actually start. You just start to open the knee a little more. Another variation is extending the upper leg away. You hold your leg where it feels best in your body today. Foot is relaxed. Coming into the inner thigh, front hand holds the front leg where it's best in your body. To help keep the hips anchored to the floor, you might put your back hand lightly on top of the front of your back hip. You might even choose to bend the back leg up and wide. Just see where that front leg will land while you keep both hips down on the floor. You can put a hand on top, underneath. The leg might be really bent, quite straight. Do what's right for your body. Doesn't matter what anyone else does with theirs. That's their business. What feels good for you? What feels right within you? I'm going to take this lifted foot completely the opposite direction. So drawing over the center line, keeping both shoulders down. You can bend it or straighten it. If there was one, well, there is one yoga pose I make sure I do every day, even if I do nothing else. This is some form of a twist. I do have some hedonistic tendencies, so I like to lie down when I do my twists. I also do it quite often seated as well. Sometimes I put some cushions and pillows underneath my top knee. Just stay there. You can even watch a bit of Netflix in this position. Although I prefer to close my eyes and just feel into it. Right now, I can feel the warmth of Casper up against my temple. His stomach's gurgling a bit, so I think I'm going to move my head really soon. Look at the birds. I'm just trying to soften the shoulders. into the stretch on the other side. When you're ready, use your inhale for a little bit more of a bracing feel. So press the shoulders a little more strongly into the floor. Inhale, feel the navel draw towards the spine. As you exhale, lift your top leg and your bottom leg. You might draw the knees in or put the feet on the floor. When you're ready to, back foot flexes, ankle across the knee. Maybe draw in. Sometimes when I get to this part of the class, I sometimes notice some quite strong temptation to rush through, not take my time. And sometimes those thoughts of all the other things that are ahead in the day start crowding in. And with practice I've learned to just sit with that. I used to get really bothered by it, like I should be feeling peaceful, I should be feeling quiet, I should be of no mind or still mind. And I'd get really frustrated because, oh my goodness, I should know better by now. I've been practicing for ages. But in the letting go, in the surrendering, the step before that is awareness and acceptance. And you know, sometimes we are full of thought or full of feeling. We can find acceptance and surrender by just going, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. And then giving ourselves something to focus on. So it might be the sensation, it might be the sound, it might be a mantra. One of my favorites, because of its simplicity and its complexity at the same time, is so calm. I am. So as I breathe in, I say so. As I breathe out, I say hum. So. Hum. And I repeat it over and over. That's a really great way of bringing all of those busy thoughts back into one space and into the time you're in. So let's bring the foot down. Thigh coming a bit closer towards chest, both hips down. Opening and lengthening the hamstrings a little bit more. Just finding the line and the variation that feels right to you right now. Supporting the leg as we open it towards the outside and checking that we're keeping both hips down. So one solution is to bend the other leg up. And you can have a bent leg or a straight one if you wish. When put my hand out for Casper, he kind of nestles into it. I'm not sure if he's fully in screen. But I just put my hand out and he kind of turned his head in there, tucked his nose in. Almost like we're holding hands. Coming across the body, it can be straight or bent. Opening and softening at the heart space. And if you might like to rest your arm on top of the leg, maybe you can bend the knees up if that feels better for you. Or put something between the knees. It'll be a nice way to support your back if it's feeling a little bit in need of that. If you sit a lot, exercise a lot. If you live and breathe, maybe try and commit to even this one yoga pose every day, or even several times in a day. Of course, if you have some pathology in your spine that needs extra attention, really check with the people who are helping you care for your health and that healthy spine before you take on any of these yoga poses. So when you feel ready to inhale, press into the floor, exhale, open out. Just let yourself settle. I brought the soles of my feet together, knees wide. Some days I like to place something underneath my thighs. Just trying to allow everything to soften towards the mat. I think I'll open my arms overhead today, just opening through the front of my shoulders. Feeling the earth at my back. It's almost like I'm backing into a hug from Mother Earth. Feeling the freedom in the front body, open to Father Sky. Knowing we are all we need to be and who we are. No need to put a label on. Because labels come from thoughts, and we have thoughts. We are not our thoughts, we have thoughts. Knowing that the feelings course through me, and the feelings are simply emotions, energy in motion, emotion. So just feeling what there is to feel, sensing where you're at, knowing this too shall pass. And the only constant is change, so allow it to be what it is. Practicing awareness, acceptance and surrender to what is, has been for me the pathway towards a more peaceful living, more loving approach to myself, that then, with my full jug of love, filters out into everyone around me. So this has been the practice that keeps my cup filled. And when it's empty, it fills it up. I'm just going to slide the feet away, allow the arms to come down by the side. My back's a little tight today, so I'm going to jump up after I turn the video on, get something and place it behind the back of my knees, and just by softening through the front of the hips, for me, that gives my back a little more comfort. So I encourage you to find your most comfortable restful position. Allow a sense of softening, so you're not holding yourself up anywhere. Allow your breath to feel natural, and just try and tune in your experiences of being, knowing you're already all you need to be. And connect with that energy that's bigger than all of us, connects all of us and runs through us. And it is in this way that we recognize that I am you, you are me, and we are all one. Namaste. Namaste.